Here we go. Halloween 2018. It took us a lot to get here, but here we are. Before we go into this and say anything, first I would like to say a couple of them being joined here with AJ and Luke, as always.
Hello.
Great to be here.
And the other one being massive spoilers ahead. If you have not seen this movie yet, it is a new movie. It just hit theaters. Probably by the time this podcast is out, it's going to have been out. Or wait until it's on Netflix or something. But don't listen to this podcast if you haven't seen the movie. So, that said, let's just jump right into it.
And I just want to say that for everyone listening, we are giving out 2 giveaways for listening to our podcast. If this is the first time you're listening, you are just entitled to get them. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment your favorite Halloween movie out of the whole franchise.
Out of the whole franchise.
And the prizes are a copy of the original 1978 Halloween film in 4K.
Blu-ray 4K, baby.
If you don't have 4K, you get a Blu-ray copy too. And another one is for 2 at your local movie theater to go see this movie or another movie. Totally up to you.
Oh, those are the 2 options.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be the first to like and subscribe then.
That's a great treat for the fans.
It is. Trick or treat, everybody.
Trick or treat.
Also, you have to say trick or treat before we send it to you. And you might get a trick.
So we just finished the movie. We just got back from the theater.
Yeah, just saw it fresh off of the big screen.
To be honest, guys, that was so much fun.
It was.
It really was.
It was a sigh of relief, I guess, at the very end. I was like, yes, we've seen them all.
Oh, just the fact that we've seen them all.
All of
okay.
them. We've done it. You know,
Yeah,
it's such
yeah.
a good
We're
feeling.
all caught up.
Well, okay. Let's jump into this one as we have done on the other podcast.
Michael Myers is back.
So Halloween 2018 takes place 40 years after the events of the first movie. We are met at the start of the film with these 2 reporters who are later referred to themselves as podcasters, which obviously got us a little squirming in our seats. They go to Smith's Grove Sanitarium.
I think AJ cheered when he heard
did.
podcasting.
AJ went whoop whoop in that scene.
That did not happen.
So they're at Smith's Grove Sanitarium. They're there to have a one-on-one with Michael Myers, but Michael hasn't spoken at all since he was a child. The interview does not go well. They end up shouting at him to speak while waving the mask at him, which was a little rude, if I had to say.
I don't even think it was rude. I think it was they ignored the ethos of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Like, if they had been studying him to report on him, they should have known that's not what you do.
Right, yeah.
Everybody seemed obsessed with getting him to talk.
Yeah, they did throughout the whole movie. So then we go back to Haddonfield, where we are met with Lori, and Lori has been preparing for this day, this Halloween day 40 years later, for the return of Michael Myers, which she believes is inevitable, but everyone else is like, it's just a crazy old lady. That happened 40 years ago. The past is the past. She needs to let it go, including her family, who we are introduced to. Lori has had a daughter since, who she has lost custody of at a young age for, I guess, hammering in this whole like self-defense thing. Like she was kind of like turned her household into like a militarized zone.
Yeah, like she made her like learn how to shoot a gun by
Right.
age 8 and like how to like trap, like trap doors and like all this
Right,
stuff,
which
like crazy stuff.
A bit excessive. So her daughter is now also still living in Haddonfield and has a daughter. So there's a granddaughter thrown in the mix and a wacky, goofy father. The granddaughter has some friends. We get some nice little moments with them walking through the town, going to school, which is very reminiscent of the first one, which felt familiar and nice. These reporters track down Laurie Strode and try to interview her, but Laurie is still very much sensitive about what has happened to her. The reporters are then next seen at a gas station where at this point in time, Michael Myers has broken free due to a freak bus accident. They don't really go into it, but they're transferring Michael Myers from Smith Grove to a new facility because they've just given up on him. They can't get anything out of him. He's just comatose.
Terrible idea. Why do we always have that bus transport thing?
That's
If they have Michael Myers locked up, just keep him in that facility.
Just keep him there. But I guess Smith's Grove is there. It's like a research facility. It's more of like they have patients there to study them and get deeper into the psychological aspect of them. So since Michael Myers has just been catatonic, the state is just like, lock him up somewhere else. That's like a recurring thing in the franchise, to where they're transporting him and he breaks free inevitably. So a father and son stumble upon the wreckage, which the son is they're going hunting in the middle of the night, of all times, on a school night. And this kid is just bitching about how he'd much rather be at dance practice. So obviously, Michael, he murders everyone there.
And he murders the kid.
He murders the kid.
Was that the first time he's killed a child?
That was the first kill we see on screen, was the kid.
Yeah.
Kind of a ballsy move.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was
Yeah.
the first one.
Which kind of sets the standard. Like, Michael Myers is back and he's pissed off.
I think personally, he is so angry because of all those sequels that were terrible. That was for the Thorn trilogy.
Y'all been fucking up my image so much. I'm going to kill this kid. So, cut back to Haddonfield, where there's a school dance going on with the granddaughter, and that was all kind of weird, and don't really know how to go into that much. But now it's Halloween night, and Myers has donned his. There's a truck stop scene where the reporters are there. They're filling up at the petrol station, as they would call it, because they're also British. And so they're at the petrol station. Michael is there as well, and he gets his suit back and his mask,
Which was really cool because I don't know if you guys saw, but in the very background, you see him stabbing the dude and then putting on the suit. But it was like so easy to miss.
Yeah, that was pretty
saw
cool.
him just being so casual, walking around that patrol station, kind of like sneaking around.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of that in the background. I thought that was great.
That was cool.
And he had a sense of where his mask was. He was trying to find.
Yeah.
Like, he knew it was in that truck.
Well,
somehow.
yeah. I mean, when they're at the Smith's Grove and they have the mask out, like everyone starts going crazy as soon as it comes out. So already the mask has like this presence to it that just feels like it's connected. Like him and Michael and this mask is somehow like one and the same. They hammer that in hard at the beginning. So Michael's back. He's got his suit. He's got his mask. He's got some kills under his belt. And everyone's out trick-or-treating. The school dance is underway. Michael is just quite literally going on a murder spree. The police soon catch wind of this. Traditional Halloween craziness ensues. There is a standoff with Laurie and Michael at the very end, which is a little short-lived. Michael finds his way to Laurie's house. Laurie and Michael meet face to face again. There is a fight. It's a pretty intense standoff to where, they're really hammering each other hard, going at it. They trap Michael into the basement to where they let loose a bunch of gas, very reminiscent of 2, throw a damn flare down there, and the whole place goes up in flames. The family is left in shambles. The father has been killed as well. And it ends on a freeze frame of the granddaughter, holding a bloody knife. End credits. That was the movie in a nutshell, as far as I can go into it. But now let's go in a little deeper and break down some more scenes. Let's go and really dig this movie apart, because there is so much in this movie that pays homage to the original Halloween, but then also a few little winks to the franchise, which was nice to see. But then there's also
I was happy to see that.
Yeah, there's also quite a bit in this movie, though, that had me scratching my head. This is definitely, let me just go ahead before we start, this is new Halloween. This movie definitely did some new things, and it's great. It's, some were good, some were bad. So overall, what did you guys think of Halloween 2018?
I enjoyed it, to be honest. I want to say that this film received a lot of positive critics. Like, the critics were very positive on this movie, with a lot saying that it's the best Halloween sequel ever made, and also just one of the best to return to the form of the series.
It was definitely one of the better ones.
I kind of felt that. There was a little bit of things obviously that I didn't care for, but for the most part, it felt like a true Halloween film to me.
I liked it. I'm definitely not going to say I disliked it. I felt the whole movie that there was like 50% of the movie I really enjoyed and 50% that was just really weak. Obviously, the original 78 Halloween is the best one of the franchise.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the best sequels of the franchise movies afterwards, but it's not my favorite. I still like H2O better.
Really?
I like H2O better than this. And
Interesting.
I find a couple of the other ones very watchable. I would almost compare to this. But you could tell that Halloween 2018, they did take their time making it. some of those earlier sequels, like 4 comes to mind. Some of those really seemed like they just filmed them and just got them done. This, they really did more thought.
It did seem like there was a little more thought and a little more care put into it. I mean, Danny McBride in interviews was saying that, you know, he was a big fan of the Halloween as a franchise, like the movies as a whole. And so he really wanted to do something that would be true to the OG, like the 1978 John Carpenter's one, which got me really excited. But then also Blumhouse was producing it. So there was also that, which was kind of conflicting. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar with like Blumhouse movies.
I'm not.
That much. They make horror movies for white girls.
Nice.
I guess is what you could say. Blumhouse has put
There
out
were a lot there. Yeah.
What's some examples? Like,
okay,
I've never heard
well,
of
they
them.
did that Happy Death Day, which now they're
Never
making.
heard of it.
You never saw that?
We
Oh,
saw
man.
the trailer.
They're doing
tonight.
a Happy Death Day 2.
Okay.
It's a slasher film.
Blumhouse has actually, it's weird. They have like a really mixed catalog because Blumhouse also put out Get Out, which was fantastic.
So do you know why Blumhouse Productions got the right set?
I think it's just because Blumhouse has their name on most of the horror movies that are coming out today. They somehow just
Wasn't
got
there
it.
a COD produced? on
Yeah,
this?
that was cool to see McCod's name on this
What
one.
was that like seeing that in theaters tonight
That
for,
was
for
cool.
fans? That was
Yeah.
that was kind of
That was nice.
I,
I felt
got
I
goosebumps.
felt like we were the only ones really up to
Yeah.
date on stuff.
I know
but
when I saw the Akkad pop up, I like looked towards you guys and I was like, there it is.
the Blumhouse Productions, they got it because Dimension Films lost the production rights. They took too
Right.
long to make it, and so they lost it. So they just were able to take over.
Probably for the better because Dimension made all the bad ones. They started doing them.
Also, this Universal Pictures, and that's not
Yeah.
been they haven't done a Halloween movie since 3.
3, that was cool to see. And then also Miramax, which is now not associated with He Who Will Not Be Mentioned, Harvey Weinstein.
Oh, okay.
So
It's like Walt Disney.
no,
So I thought this movie was great, but there were some scenes that like kind of killed it for me. And one of them was at the very beginning. It's with those 2 reporters,
Yeah.
Aaron and Donna.
didn't care for the
Just
reporters.
something about them did not click Halloween to me
Oh,
until
it did
they
not have that feeling.
until they died.
They were
Yeah.
they were definitely like the intro. Like they were like it was kind of like in this movie.
They built them up to be like main characters, though, and
I-
it wasn't.
I kept thinking in this movie, I was like, how are they going to like reintroduce these characters? How are they going to like bring this back to the screen? And so I feel like those reporters or podcasters, as they refer to themselves at one point, were just kind of a way to usher us into the door of back
Yeah,
into this
that's
Michael
really what
Myers
they
world.
were.
And I just watched a Scream movie recently, and they really just reminded me of this like generic character that like Courtney Cox plays in those. Like
Yeah.
there's this reporter character, but we don't see that anywhere in the franchise of Halloween.
Right.
And it just felt really cheap. Like that's the way you're gonna start this film.
Yeah.
It felt like a quick scene that took way too long.
It did. You remember we were talking about Rob Zombie's Halloweens and how it was just such a long intro until he put the mask back on. That kind of how it felt for me on this
yeah.
one.
Yeah. This there was a lot of really.
Can we talk about the gas station scene?
Those characters, though, I want to point out, or I'm with you on that, Dylan. They were just to catch up people with what's
Yeah.
going on, because
were like-
especially when they go visit Lori,
Mhm.
you find out post-traumatic stress. She's lost.
For people who are new to the series.
They're like, oh, it's okay because it almost could work as a standalone film, but there's just way too much history in there that they were like, we got to have like these people kind of catch the audience up a little bit.
I'm glad they did set up the 2 like failed marriages and lost the custody of her
Yeah.
kid. It kind of just helped build like what she has become.
Yeah, they
for all the right
How
reasons.
did
but
how
they
did
don't
you
see it
guys
that
feel
way.
about Jamie Lee Curtis in this film?
I thought she did a great job.
I thought her performance was good, but I thought her character as Laurie Strode, I had a lot of troubles dealing with that because there's even moments where characters in the film are talking about her saying, you know, why is she so still bent over this event that happened 40 years ago? Like, why can't she let go? And if this movie, since it's not canon to the whole rest of the franchise at this point, it's almost like justified to say like, yeah, why? And that guy, even the friend, the stoner guy, when they're walking to school, even says, you know, a lot, like, we're in a new age, like there are lots of worse things. So this guy killed like 5 people, like, you know, there's other worse things that
Yeah.
happened since then. And they're like, oh, but that's my grandma.
It felt like
I
they
really
were-
like that because it really felt modern in that sense.
Yeah.
And it felt like I kept throwing in, I know I said this once, I kept thinking of H2O, I kept
Yeah.
thinking of Halloween 2 in 1980.
That was 82, I think.
82, I think. I kept thinking of all these other Jamie Lee Curtis performances, but if she hadn't done those, it really would have been 40 years of her just doomsday prepping with her not even brother, with just some dude
Which
that
I love that they
I
shot
love
that
that.
in
I
there.
love that they
So-
took
okay,
out the
can
brother
I play
stuff.
this
Yeah.
out?
Yeah.
a guy who tried to kill her and her friends when they were babysitting in 78, who's not related in this movie. She's not related.
He's just some crazy
Just some
dude.
crazy dude who's been locked up for 40 years and she's obsessing with it.
Yeah.
I think this movie, the way it plays out like, especially in the trailer, it plays out as if it's a final stand between Michael Myers and his sister, Laurie Strode.
Yeah.
So that's how it should have been in this movie. The whole throwing that, how was that introduced, guys, that they're not related?
Well, there was in that scene again where they're walking to school. It was almost like a jab to the franchise where
Yeah.
that one girl says, "No, that's not his sister or his brother. That's just something someone made up."
Yeah, a bunch of people.
That's
made
funny,
that.
though.
I love that.
That's
yeah,
cool.
it was like fuck you to the
All the other
all
movies.
the
Yeah.
terrible one. Fuck you, Thorn trilogy. So one thing that really turned me off about this movie was there were a lot of moments that felt like it was Halloween, that it was a Halloween movie. When Michael's back and he's killing people, like that all was great. Like there's a lot of moments where I was like, yes, like this is exactly what I was wanting in this movie. A lot of scenes though were utterly spoiled to me by useless, out of place humor. Like, and with Danny McBride writing, it kind of is like it would make sense that there would be a little bit of humor to the film, but in that being in that theater and watching like a Michael Myers movie and hearing mostly laughter come from the audience just kind of didn't feel right to me. Like there were too many moments spoiled, like so many where tension would start to build and swell. All of a sudden, all that tension gets thrown out the window because someone says something and like the audience starts cracking up.
A great example of that is Laurie Strode's granddaughter, Allison, has a boyfriend, and we see their little relationship thing. And
For like 5 minutes until
for 5 minutes, well, that's cool. That's fine. It makes sense. It would be in some of the franchise movies. They have those type teenager things. My point with the humor was, I thought the worst humor, awkward, was when the best friend of the granddaughter's boyfriend is alone in a backyard, and there's a little awkward scene. It starts off, oh, he's stuck there with Michael Myers. It's funny, move on. But then it turns into like a long scene where it's this dude who's kind of like a Danny McBride character.
Yeah.
And he's having this like conversation with Michael Myers, and he's gonna die eventually, but it's just this kind of awkward scene, which it was fun, but it just lasted way too long.
I don't know. See, I didn't think that because one, he's like drunk and he thinks it's this like lady or man or someone.
He's an
that
unassuming
he knows.
teenager. It makes sense, like in the scene, why he would be acting that
What
way.
made that so great was when the sensor lights kept going off.
Yeah.
Oh, and then just the last one, he goes right in for him.
Yeah. See, scenes like that didn't necessarily bother me. Like there wasn't like I didn't have problem. Like if that scene it was in that film, like irregardless, that
It
would
just
have
didn't feel like a
fine.
Halloween movie.
There was just so many other scenes where characters were like being a little too comical. Like with the kid,
Yeah, bring the
we
kid
can
up.
we can go into
I don't.
that.
I loved that part.
I
though.
did too. I thought the kid was hilarious.
I like the kid, but they could have toned him down just a tinge because there's so
just that one.
Or just
scene.
cut the
we
end
get
of
a-
the scene.
we get a babysitter segment where
was a good segment.
one of Annie's friends is babysitting on the
Annie?
night of her name's
Allison.
Allison.
They
So-
brought Annie back for this one. She's
So,
old.
Allison is
Old to babysit.
at one of Allison's friend is babysitting and she's missing out on this school dance, which was like, why are we at a school dance? I thought that whole school dance stuff was like,
It just makes sense.
It
in
went
slasher
nowhere, though.
movies, though.
yeah,
Just
okay,
to have that, like,
I'm giving it a pass I'm giving it a pass on the fact that like they tried to put the teenager aspect back
I
into
thought
this
the
movie.
school dance was appropriate. They could have done more. They could have done a Carrie scene. He
yeah.
could have come in there and
Right,
started killing.
they could have done that. That's what I was expecting. Like when we're at the school dance, I was expecting Michael Myers to bust up in there and start murking people. Maybe even discreetly, like start it off to where it's like some kids in the bathroom,
yeah.
something like that.
It's the Chekhov thing. Like
Yeah.
if you see a gun in the first act, someone should be murdered in the second act. We see the school dance, so we think Michael Myers is going to come and kill these teenagers, and then nothing bad happens at the dance besides a phone is thrown into a punch
Which
bowl.
technically is bad because it set this whole thing where the granddaughter was cut off from the whole family.
It does set up like that.
They could have been more creative.
It could have been a little more creative. I just like they could have done something else to incorporate like the teenage aspect back into these movies. I just felt that like a lot of stuff with Allison and her boyfriend went nowhere. We're introduced to this character. We don't really know a lot about him besides that he's kind of a little bit of a charmer. And then all of a sudden he's kind of a bit of an asshole. And then that's it. She storms out. And that's it. And
I'm
so
with Dylan on that. I don't
thought,
I don't think they were bad points. They were good plot points.
Yeah.
But they were just had loose hanging. Like they didn't go anywhere.
Maybe they could have done something where like the daughter's at the dance and she's with her friends and they're drinking and they're at the party, at the thing. And like the principal is like, what are you kids doing drinking? And they run away and she like drops her phone. And that's how they could have left the dance. But with like, oh, I can't believe you kissed another girl. Fuck this shit. I'm out.
I don't know, Dylan. That is true to the teenage horror thing.
We
gotta let him be.
It's just that's never really been.
Did the boyfriend die?
No.
See,
that's the last we see of him. Is that
I think
dance?
he should have died there.
Yeah. See, Michael could have been maybe
like
if they were
drunkenly stepped out sad, and then Michael just
murks him. Yeah, that could have been another great thing. There was just so much. I felt like that whole dance scene, that whole thing was set up just for what you said, to have her lose her phone, when there could have been something more creative. Because to me, it just didn't feel like that we haven't seen anything like that in a Halloween movie.
I think we have, because Halloween 4 or 5, that whole like party at that house with the barn and stuff, we had a lot of that teenage stuff
Halloween
going on.
too, with Laurie being at that big crazy like rock concert.
Yeah.
Well,
it just felt like some drama amongst these characters that just didn't feel like it shouldn't have been there. It was like, well, what are we doing here? Like, why am I watching this? Can we just get back to Michael Myers murking people, please? So
it was okay.
Going back to that babysitter scene, that was cool seeing they're sitting at the house and they're watching horror movies on TV, and the kid's kind of funny. Like, I liked that kid. I thought his performance was pretty good. Like, you rarely see like decent child actors in movies. Mm-hmm. His performance was pretty good. Like, he felt like a kid who would be existing today in 2018.
And when she tucked him in at night, and before Michael Myers was there, he looked like he was so comfy. He was like such a happy.
Yeah.
Like, he was really hamming up that role.
Everything about him was great. What ruined it for me, though, is it's like the boyfriend comes over and then there's some fun little stuff there where he's like, I got a pumpkin, I got some weed, like, we're gonna have a good night, it's Halloween, woo, and they're making out, and I'm like, yes, this is all so far digging this. The kid comes downstairs, I saw someone. They're like, oh, you're just a kid, it's Halloween, you're spooked, I shouldn't have showed you horror movies.
He did say boogeyman, which was kind
of
the
boogeyman. He said the boogeyman's here. They're like, okay. They go up there. Long story short, Michael's in the closet. And then there's this big thing where he's like, will you close my closet door before you leave? And she's like, sure. Closet door won't close. And we're like, oh, fuck, there he is. She swings the door open. Michael's there. And like, that was such like a great moment for me, where it is like, it alludes to like, that's what's going to happen. Where it was like, oh, this could either be a cheesy jump scare or he could actually be there. Bam, doors open. He's there. I was like, oh, shit. And then the moment is ruined when that kid says quite literally what I was thinking. Oh, shit. And the audience laughed at that point while this girl got brutally murdered.
That was awful. I thought so too.
I was like, oh god, that took me right out of the scene.
It seemed like a Scream movie or a scary movie.
I mean, he should have like screamed and like freaking out
instead
of being like, oh shit.
He should have been a kid. Not like
don't you care about your babysitter being like
or yourself? You're next, bud.
Where did that kid go? That kid disappeared.
That is true. Yeah,
he's just gone.
He went downstairs and he was fine down there. Michael Myers didn't get him.
And then what could have been a really great kill we don't get to see because the boyfriend hears all this craziness going on upstairs, grabs a knife, and then the next time we see him, he's like on the wall. Like Michael Myers stabbed him on the wall,
Traditional Michael
which is a
Myers kill.
And that
signature
was
kill.
a wink to the earlier series.
I can't believe they didn't show that kill though. Like we
Yeah.
just discover it.
Even
as
though
like,
we're being critics and true fans here, I have to say the best part of this movie was that girl babysitting and
Yeah.
Michael Myers, because that's the most suspenseful it
see,
gets.
Yeah.
there was a lot of
Suspense
there was it's so hard. I agree with what you said earlier, where you're like, this movie was like 50% like a decent Halloween movie, but
Yeah.
then also 50% like super schlocky.
It was.
Which, with Blumhouse and
Almost
with
the editing.
right, with Blumhouse and a lot of these like modern reboots, soft reboots, whatever you want to call them, those are come to expected. So it's like, damn, it's just I really was hoping, I had really high hopes for this one, and I was kind of at parts those like expectations were met, but then at other parts they were just like really let down.
So we talked about this earlier. The scene with the babysitter is part of it. When Michael Myers returns to Haddonfield, there are some great scenes. Most of this film, I didn't feel like it was Haddonfield, and I really didn't throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
But there were some great Halloween of the franchise moments when he was walking around amongst the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, let's
And
talk about that.
He was going
Beautiful.
from house to house killing, and that's that 30-minute, that gap of that movie, that's made the movie.
Yeah.
for
that
me.
was that I got
The
really
shots were beautiful.
I know they did that really cool one take shot
Yeah.
where he literally is just
Yeah.
going from house to house murdering people. I
Mhm.
thought this is freaking awesome.
I love the way he looked around, the way
Yeah.
he picked up the hammer and then
Very-
replaced it with a knife.
very
That
Nick
was also
Castle.
the trailer, though.
Yeah, I know. It kind of
That was that was in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was still great to see it unfold like on the big screen. Nick Castle coming back as the Shape was awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Although they do show a lot more of Michael Myers' face in this one, like from the beginning. Not really like
The back of his head.
we see like the side of his face and the back of his
Contours.
head. And he's like a 50-year-old man who's like balding. That kind of took it out for me a little bit too, because then the whole time when he was murdering these people, I just kept thinking of this like older
Old,
man under
yeah,
the mask.
yeah.
I was like, I wish we could just go back to him being like this entity where
Yeah.
I didn't have to like know
know
that
anything
Yeah,
about
face-
that he's
Faceless-
balding.
Yeah.
The faceless entities are much scarier.
It was much
Yeah.
scarier.
When he's back in there, when he's captured, it's as if, he's forced to stay there, he can't escape. But when he's running amok, he's indestructible. He
Yeah.
could take bullets. So why is it that he can take bullets and he won't ever die, but then he can also be jailed for 40 years? He seems like a guy who could survive bullets, could just break chains and leave.
and not have to worry about anything.
Right. Well, I think
We're just overthinking it.
we are overthinking a little bit. I don't think you can put that much logic into these movies because they're a lot funner when you just don't. Again, I love that.
Why show his face so much?
I know they it was like why like hint to his face so much. I felt like from that opening sequence, like before the title, like from that first.
There was
like,
part where
5
they
minutes,
actually showed part of one of his eyes, and it looked
Yeah.
like he had cataracts or
Yeah.
something.
I felt like
Yeah.
I got a good look at his face before he even had the mask on, even though like they shoot it in a way to where it's just like half of his face or like
Still a
the
little
back of his head.
mysterious.
It still kind of throws a lot of the mystery out of the thing. But I do like that he is just a man in this one, who everyone is just like he's the boogeyman. He's pure evil. They take away all that supernatural crap. In some sense, it's still there. Like it's still referenced. Like
Still
the-
indestructible.
his reputation is more of like a superstition or a
Yeah,
ghostly
that's what it
type
should
thing.
be.
supernatural.
But he, in reality, is just a man.
Mhm.
That was all great. And plus, also getting rid of the whole like.
But is he a man when they start shooting him and he's indestructible?
Yeah, I like to think he still is, but he's
As
just he's
Dr. Loomis says he's just pure
just evil.
Pure
Yeah,
evil.
he can't. He just will keep getting up and going. You know what else they didn't do? We didn't get no great like Michael Myers head tilts in this one. I didn't see him tilt his head once.
Yeah, you're right.
And then also there wasn't any scenes where he was knocked down and he gets up
Uh-huh.
and slowly turns. There's none of that either.
One thing they were setting up, and I don't remember chronologically how this happened. It might have been before Myers was running amok, but there was a nice scene at a graveyard where they're going to look at Judith Myers' grave.
Oh yeah,
And I was so waiting, so happy if that grave was going
It's
to be
gone.
missing.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
would be like, Why do they do it? These kids,
Yeah.
not again. I wanted that so bad, and they didn't. The grave was still there.
I'm kind of glad that this one kind of takes on a different formula than the first one did, because I was going into it, I was like, is it going to be like when every time they reboot a movie, they essentially just make like the same movie, but with different characters and like kind of do a different take to it?
It was its own movie.
This one had different pacing to it, which was refreshing, but then also at times like not, because the first act of this movie is kind of slow, where they're kind of doing a lot of character building, which I guess is necessary. But then also it's like, it's not until Michael Myers breaks out and he gets that when he puts that mask back on, that's when the movie is like, here we go, here's the movie.
So
Can I just talk about pacing? Because we have scenes like the babysitter scene. We have some scenes with the kids from the dance. We have these scenes where he's murdering people around town. Really good scenes. But then they'll have these great scenes, and then they'll go back to a long, drawn-out, slow-paced, boring part. It's as if something exciting happens, and then all that tension, all that suspense, gone.
Yeah, the tension gets cut a lot in this movie.
It was like bad. It could have been edited,
especially with the humor. Do you guys want to talk about the dad now?
Oh,
Yeah.
please!
On
Okay,
that note,
I have to be honest. Favorite character in the movie
was the dad?
I loved him. He just had a. I know what they were going for with him. You know, it was just God. He was so funny, but he was also like I don't know
So
what
carefree.
it was.
He was unique to the series.
He was a dad.
It was
for
believable
sure.
to be like that. Though,
Yeah,
and that's
he-
why I liked
Real
it.
person.
He was
Yeah.
a dad, and he was like this goofy, like, I'm dad. But then, he was almost a little too goofy in the sense of where it was like his scene, every scene he was in was there, like there was a joke.
Mhm.
There didn't seem like there was a lot of like more character other than that. Like he was just like, I'm the goofy dad.
I like this scene
where he's
where he knows that Michael Myers is there to try to kill his wife, his mother-in-law,
and I guess also
his wife,
He's there
and
to
his
kill everybody.
daughter, and him. And he picks up a yo-yo. It's just yo-yoing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's one thing I didn't like. Where I'm like, come on, bro. Like, are you still the goofy dad? Like in this
You
moment,
wouldn't
I
let
love
that
it.
character go.
I just love it.
Really?
He
I
reminded
really
me
it
of,
took me out of the
he
movie.
reminded me of the guy from Resurrection that wouldn't shut up about being a cook. He did, like, did I mention I'm a chef?
Yeah.
Actually, that character made my day.
No,
it really did.
I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Did not like New Loomis.
Dr. Sartain.
Ugh.
Oh, that's his name, Dr.
No
Sartain.
charisma. Loomis was so
Well-
charismatic.
Yeah. But if you listen to Lori, she goes, "Oh, you're the new Loomis."
Yeah, at least they
It-
pointed out.
in a way, the directors were just kind of like, throw that in there just to
He's
show them that.
let the audience know.
Don't worry
You
about it.
can't replace
Yeah,
Loomis.
Yeah.
You can't replace Loomis. Old like Donald Pleasance.
I mean, how
That-
could you?
That is such a he is Dr. Loomis.
He carried those old movies on his back.
It was interesting though. It was an interesting take to kind of have like new Loomis be a little bit
Obsessive.
obsessive and sinister in some sense, where he kills the cop and he just wants to get in that mind of Michael Myers.
Yeah, he kills Hawkins, which I really liked Hawkins.
Yeah, the cop in this movie was good. He had a good intro too, where he's playing the pinball.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, Hawkins, he ran over Michael Myers and he was like
Yeah.
ready to, he wanted to end it because he went through the same kind of stuff Lori did. And then
Mhm.
that damn Sartain motherfucker just,
Marks him.
and puts his mask on and like,
Okay,
tries
he
to-
kills
he-
the policeman, and then he puts the mask on, and I thought that was kind of a twist, and I liked that. I thought that was
Really?
cool.
I
It
did
was
not
a little.
like it.
No.
It was something a little
was
refreshing.
different.
It was
a little
different. That's what I liked. But then, if he has been researching for Michael Myers for 40 years, then he thinks he could just throw him in the back of a cop car
Right.
and live to tell the story. That was so
Yeah.
dumb.
I
when
guess you're
when
just
my
so obsessed. You
He's
just don't
he's
think.
disrespecting.
and
the-
it's also him. Everyone just wants Michael to talk in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone's
Why?
just
It's so
yelling,
weird.
"Say something,
'Cause
Michael."
even the granddaughter,
word.
the granddaughter's in the back with them, and
Yeah.
she even knows this, so she like uses it.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
You
a
stop
very
the car and let me go, and I'll tell you what word he said. And he was
Yeah.
like, like he just had to know.
yeah.
like,
He was obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing I didn't like New Loomis until he was like, "Oh, by the way, I'm fucking crazy and obsessed with this Michael Myers character that I'm willing to kill just to get inside of his mind." Because when he kills Hawkins,
he goes.
that's-
So this is what it
this
feels
is what
like.
it feels like, and that's why he puts the mask on. He's
I
like,
thought
"Yeah."
that was kind of funny, and that was refreshing because it was new to the series. But did he have an objective? Like, was he going to try to take Myers somewhere?
Yeah.
Or was he going to let him loose? Like, what was he trying to
That
do?
was one of the things
Yeah.
about the movie where like there was a lot of scenes that would go by and I'd be like, "What are we doing right now? Where are we going?
And
What's
this
this
is
guy's game
all
plan here?
leading to the safe house, which was neat, but it went on so long and then it just ended.
I didn't think. Okay, the safe house stuff was like both drawn out, but then also sped up to where it's like we get a lot of them prepping and kind of just standing around and
But no finale.
worrying about the granddaughter, and then when Michael shows up, just somehow because I mean,
No, he follows the trail,
the
the police
the
trail,
cops.
because the
There were
cops
cops
were up the
guarding it,
road.
taking
Okay.
taking the granddaughter to them.
Do you think New Loomis was like heading that way? Do you think that's what his game plan was? I don't think he ever said it, but do you
No,
think that's
he
what...
actually did say that. He said, yeah, that's what it was, because he
Okay.
wanted him to be with Lori because that would get him and her to both like open up real
And
big.
he
Yeah.
said, like, there are so many possibilities.
Yeah,
Is what
yeah.
he said.
The explanation in this movie of not that they're brother and sisters and there's this dumb Thorn cult who's trying to get Michael to kill off his bloodline is that Lori has become so obsessed with being the victim and Michael has become so obsessed with being the predator that that's probably the only reason that's been keeping them both alive. Which I was like, okay, sure. But also, it's been 40 years. How does Michael even remember Lori? How is Michael like, was he just sitting
Well,
around for 40
here's
years
what-
like,
here's what-
I gotta get her?
It makes sense. If you're someone like that, that is the kill that got away. So
Sure.
you'd be obsessed with it in a way.
All right,
I
guys.
feel like
You remember the kid he said, the girlfriend or the girl that he wanted, he looked at him and was like, do you know what it's like to have a girl that you can't get?
Yeah.
I mean, it
there's
kinda,
someone that
it
gets
was
away.
kind of
The
like
one that
ending
got
That was
away.
smart.
the one that got away.
that was I'm like, sure.
I did hear the
That was
audience,
audible.
The audience goes,
Oh.
Even
guys,
before they were laughing.
I got a bit of trivia. You know how there are different winks to the earlier films?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Man in Black in this film?
No.
what?
Was there?
I might be wrong, but when there were trick-or-treaters and kids dressed up, there was a kid who had a black cowboy hat, all black cloak, walking by, and I think it was a nod toward the
Oh
Man
my
in Black.
goodness, I did not catch that.
Did you guys see the Halloween costumes from Halloween 3?
No, was that in there?
You didn't see that?
No, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
there's a scene where there's a shot of some kids walking down the street and they're wearing
man.
the 3 masks from Halloween 3.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That was a cool little
That is
tribute.
cool.
The movie should have ended with them going home and watching the 8 more days till Halloween and then like snakes coming out of their face.
Hey, Luke did point out too the bathroom scene where the reporters die
Yes.
is a nod to.
My
H2O.
favorite H2O.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool because like H2O is so deep in the series, it's the 7th film, that they didn't need to make a nod toward it, but they did, and they made a
Yeah.
big scene into it.
I feel like when this movie, like maybe I have to watch it again because I feel like maybe there was a lot more nods because just the ones that I picked up on just watching it in the theater, I liked that kind of a little bit of a nod to Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, where he goes into the house of the lady making a sandwich and kills her. That was kind of nifty, although I would have loved to hear that line again where the lady's cutting up the ham and going, "You want mustard on your sandwich?" Like that would have been cool, but instead
I would have loved a little bit of a hospital scene in this.
no
Yeah.
hospital.
No hospital.
Yeah.
Hey, going back to that scene, you notice what got me was there was an infant crying, and he stopped and looked at it for a minute and then left.
Yeah. That's true to the
Yeah,
character that he
yeah,
would
it
not
was
kill
just-
a kid.
But he
But
killed
he killed that child.
He killed like
No, I mean baby.
Yeah,
he doesn't kill anyone 12
kill
years old or
babies.
up or 12 years down.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was this. Yeah, he's got the knife and he hears the baby crying and he walks in the room. I was like,
Oh no.
are they going to do
I
that?
was like, where is this going?
I was like, okay, Blumhouse, let's see what you got. Come on. Let's see it.
Going
And-
back to that fortified scene at the very end, you guys were saying it's slow, sometimes sped up. I actually really enjoyed that. I thought that was the most intense moment because Lori has been, as she said, praying that he gets out. Like she's just ready for that revenge.
Yeah.
But great kill, also really gory. Was the Dr. Santon or whatever his name was? He got his
Got
head smashed in, and
stomped,
you
yeah.
literally see brain
Ugh.
smashed,
That
and just
was-
running out.
I'm not trying to like constantly. I want to praise this. I want to talk about the good things of this movie. That was one of the bad things that I did not like about this movie. Where I was expecting there to be a little more subtlety, to where like for Blumhouse and a new movie coming out, that's not going to go over well if there's not like some graphicness to it. But when he stomps the guy's head and the brains come spilling out and stuff, that was so graphic. I was like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess throughout the
Kind of like Rob Zombie almost.
throughout the franchise, maybe that was a little nod to Rob Zombie, where they were like, we got to have this, we got to make it a little graphic because Rob Zombie would get mad if we didn't. You know, it was almost as if like, yeah, they sat down and they were like,
checked off every film.
Let's check off one thing from each movie, and they're like, how are we gonna do 3? The masks, fuck it.
What about 8? What about Resurrection?
What about 6? Well, 6. Which one was that one? The Curse of Michael Myers. I'm sorry, I don't. What about 5? 5? I don't. Did you see 5?
There was no Jamie.
I think
Halloween.
8 is probably the most forgettable of the whole series.
Yeah.
What was that? Resurrection.
Yeah.
There could have been one scene where like one of the high schoolers is watching like a web series.
Yeah.
And they're like, come on, let's go. Oh, yeah. And there could have been like a scene with Jamie where she's like a mom and trick or treat.
Yeah,
oh, hey.
that would have been awesome.
Little things like that. Maybe there was things like that in there. I said,
think once this is out and there's more people online, more people will find the
hey, if anyone
Easter
knows,
eggs.
anything,
if you're listening and you're a fan of the franchise,
tell us.
Yeah, if you want to watch a good Halloween movie, you want that 1978.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, there's only one movie to watch on Halloween night when you're giving out candy.
Hocus Pocus.
Well, after that, you watch 1978. After that, you watch
Psycho.
Before that, you watch 1978.
Friday the 13th.
You're right. Watch 1978.
House on Haunted Hill.
You watched the original Halloween. God damn it!
Oh, yeah. Of course. Yeah. No, naturally. That is the only movie
That's
you should
a
watch
go-to.
on Halloween. Yeah.
My
Go-to.
favorite.
Oh,
was
another nod I just thought about. Michael Myers puts a ghost costume over the top of the dead babysitter.
Uh-huh.
And I thought it was going to be the boyfriend because that would be more of a nod to the series, a boyfriend in a ghost costume.
Uh-huh.
But he also, there was like little cool things where Michael Myers, he's got,
His favorite ways of doing
he
it.
loves, he spent the last 40 years in Smith's Grove watching Martha Stewart because he is a sucker for decorations. I think my favorite one, the ghost, was cool where he puts the sheet over her, but then also he like shoves lights up in like the cop's head.
Yeah,
that was so
for
gross.
the head to glow like
Yeah,
a jack-o'-lantern.
like a jack-o'-lantern.
Maybe
That
think of
was
Halloween
insane.
6 when he had that person up over the radio DJ up in the
Yeah.
tree
Oh,
with lights.
Yes.
Wait, Halloween what?
6.
Which one was that one?
95.
I don't remember it.
It was your personal favorite.
Halloween 6. I don't know.
So that fortified scene at the end, though, I thought that part was so great because it was like this build-up.
Oh, you like the
this
safe house?
I thought it was going to end just boom, like great revenge,
yeah.
vengeance.
You were wrong.
But the best part was when the daughter of Lori, and then the granddaughter is downstairs, and she's like, I can't do it. And he rips that thing off and then gets right there, and she goes, Gotcha. And then Lori is in the background like Michael Myers.
Trick or treat.
Trick or treat.
No, she says Happy Halloween, Michael.
Yes. Oh, I love that.
Don't you almost feel sorry for Michael in some of those scenes? Because they kept tricking him and confusing him.
He looks so, especially when they got him trapped in the basement and they're filling it with gas. He looks so pathetic down there.
Okay, am I the only one that looked at him when he was just caged down there with burning hot just flames behind him? You kind of felt sorry for him the way he was looking up at the camera at them. Something about it.
I both kind of felt sorry, but then also got this vibe that he was looking up at her and also thinking like, I'm gonna get you for this. Bitch. Let's go ahead.
We
It's not
all
the end of
know.
me.
We've seen 11 movies. We know he won't die.
So here's the thing. Let's go ahead and talk about the ending where it ends with him, just like, I guess maybe it's another nod to Halloween 2, that it ends with him going out in flames because they blow him up in this one again. But there is a shot where he's in the basement and the house is starting to be engulfed in flames. There is one shot where they cut back to the basement and it's just the basement on fire and he's nowhere in sight.
Right.
So do you think that's kind of like a subtle way of them trying to hint that it could be potentially left open for another sequel?
God, I really want to. I want to think that, but I really did not want it to end that way. I wanted it to end. I wanted this to be the last one.
I was
dead.
going into it expecting
this does
it was.
well.
Yeah, I thought they just wanted to like put this mess of a series to rest.
We've done that before.
They've done that
That's
before.
happened. A lot of these sequels were them bringing it back and finishing it.
I really don't want to have to go back and do another.
You know, a
watch.
sequel's going to come
Oh,
out.
I'm done.
I
I'm
can
done.
already
another
see how this is going to
podcast.
go. A sequel's going to come out. It's probably not going to do well. And then, like 20 years from now, they're going to be like, okay, this is the one.
This is the one.
And it starts right after
Halloween.
one. Disregard everything.
60.
Okay, I
60
feel like
years later.
I feel like I don't know if they
It's going to
are
be Jamie Lee Curtis in a retirement home.
in a hospital. I don't know if they were trying to allude that there could be any kind of a sequel, because I guess you can walk away saying, well, there's closure. The house is burning around him, like the house is going to
No.
fall in on him. He's going to die. But then I feel like they could easily, like they have done many times in the past with this franchise, shoehorn something where like he crawled out of like the basement window or something.
They left it ambiguous, and this is the reason why. If they wanted to have the definitive death, they would have definitely shown his burn up corpse
Yeah.
and that he was done.
Yeah.
Like
They don't even show his body,
Right.
so he could have escaped. They can easily shoot that horn in, like Dylan said,
Yeah.
or him and Loomis in Halloween 2, 82. They both had an explosion just like that and
Yeah.
survived.
Yeah.
So I mean,
they've
if we
done
know
it before.
anything from the series, is we can't expect anything.
Yeah, history repeats itself in this franchise. They pull a lot of the same punches in a lot of the movies. So I personally would not be surprised if like a year or two from now we're getting
Halloween
Halloween. Would they call it Halloween 2?
I don't know.
Because this is Halloween 2.
Yeah. I don't know.
So confusing.
That's
this,
when
this whole
any
thing.
series you get to the point that you start calling the movie the original name again without anything behind it.
Right.
Watch
It
them
gets
call
confusing.
it Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Not even the Halloween on, just
Michael Myers or Michael.
Guess who's back?
It would be godly. And then, it would just from that point. And Blumhouse loves to do sequels.
So, okay, not just to bring this ending up again, but the one thing I loved about the ending is the family, like, together. All three of them. You have the grandma, the mom.
Yeah.
I mean, the granddaughter.
3 generations.
Yeah, and they were killing him. Like, it was kind of cool.
The granddaughter wasn't really.
Well, she stabbed
She
him.
popped in
She
there
was the
for-
reason
she-
why he got stuck down there.
She popped in there a little bit.
But do you think that was a nod to Jamie at the end when they show her with the knife, in a way kind of saying like, oh no, like
Maybe
it
a little
made you
bit.
kind of go like,
I
oh shit.
thought for a moment
Right.
that was going to happen.
And that was a Jamie thing.
And
Yeah, I thought it was going
at
to
the
be
end of
like,
4.
oh, she has the curse of Myers
Yeah,
type
yeah.
deal.
But then
Sorry.
again, it's like that. Oh, we got to let that shit go. That
Yeah.
didn't happen.
Oh, but Dylan, it
Yeah.
did because it didn't happen within the series. Like, this is a direct sequel to 78.
Right.
But we had the nod to H2O. We had the nod to all these other.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm
so
saying.
the director is winking toward him. So it could have been a wink.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking like plot wise. If they were going to try to rehash
No, I'm just
that out
talking
of
a
anything.
reference, a wink to the.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I think for sure that is what it could have been potentially. But I got a little nervous though when I saw it. 'cause
I did
said-
too. I really
I
did.
said, don't
And
try
I
to
would
kill
have
anyone.
loved to see Danielle. Oh, I forget her last name.
Harris?
Jamie,
Yeah.
the actress, in this film.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Well, she was in the first reboot, so I think she's done. She's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm surprised Jamie Lee Curtis came back for this one because
Yeah.
Jamie Lee after H2O, or I guess technically after Resurrection, was like no more.
I felt like Jamie Lee Curtis had a great performance, the best that she could have for this movie. But the whole time I was just kind of like, why are you here? This is unnecessary.
Yeah, as the Laurie Strode character,
So far from the original.
so she really
It's been
was.
40 years, guys. She's
Sure.
aged.
a different person.
She's a totally different
But
person.
Aren't
I
we?
thought
Aren't we like? And it's not even been that long.
it would have been cool if she was a little bookwormy because there's even a line in this movie.
Yeah, but she's like been. You know what I'm saying? Like you,
We're sure.
you lose all your.
Sure. And
I
in
mean-
interviews, Jamie Lee Curtis has said that, part of the reason of one of the things that brought her to reprise her role in this movie was because there is like a lot of like underlying tones of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And she said like in this time of age we've entered, there's a lot of talk of people going through trauma.
Oh my god! I just realized another one.
Hit it.
She is drinking like really hardcore.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Oh,
And
which
so
one was that?
H2O, she was an
H2O,
alcoholic.
Yeah,
Mhm.
And in real life,
Yeah.
as an actress, she
and they
was.
hit that.
Yeah.
They hit that note.
Because remember, the mom goes, "I thought you stopped drinking." And
What
like,
did you guys think of the scene where she's watching Michael Myers like get onto the bus The editing in that scene was really weird.
Do you think so? I really like that.
That whole segment was like really weird for me. And then she starts yelling. They could have just maybe had a scene where she was just there and she's chugging the little shooters of vodka. Like I thought that scene was nice, but the way it was edited,
on her way to kill him.
I think you think that's what it was?
Yes, because everyone keeps going.
She was hunting him down.
Visit him. You need to get this over with. She had the gun. She was shooting that bet because she knew what she was about to do. She was about to honestly go to prison.
I took it as
afterwards.
I took it as maybe she was just there.
Leaves.
I took it as maybe she was just there to watch him leave. To have that, like,
she didn't know the bus was leaving.
No, they mentioned in the interview when the podcasters, the British reporters, mentioned to her at her house that he's being transferred.
Oh, okay. I still think she was trying to get there before that, and then when she realized it was too late.
All right, guys. In lieu of good writing, one small mistake. They called the bathroom a loo in this movie. Real English people do not call it that. That's like a wives' tale. They call it the toilet. They say, you want to go to the toilet? And they call the whole restroom a toilet.
Really?
They go, let's go to the toilet.
I just lost another star for this movie just for that.
All right. So, what did you guys think of seeing a Halloween movie new in theaters? I know we've watched all of these, three of us, on streaming. Wasn't it neat to see in theaters brand new with a whole audience? I don't know if you guys have been to movies in theaters recently. A lot of times when I go, I'm even a new movie, I'm one of the only people there.
Yeah.
Movies aren't doing well in theaters. And this was packed and it was sold out for some of the times. There were people there and it was such a fun feeling. Like, what did you think of the crowd?
The atmosphere was great because you felt like you were with a lot of these people too. Even the laughter, everything was just so good with it.
It was the laughter that made me.
But you know what that is?
Took me out of the movie.
People enjoying their time there.
That's people laughing at intentionally funny bits of the movie.
But they're having fun. If I'm by myself in a living room, I would not have laughed out loud at any of those moments.
I'm not asking about the movie as much as the people in the crowd. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying how did the movie react to the crowd or vice versa. I'm saying how was it to go to a movie where people were so passionate and had fun going to a movie theater. It made me feel like I was in the early 2000s again when people really went out to theaters.
And it was cool because this is a brand new Halloween for a new generation, but we were all in there together with these people. It was like
it was young,
a new time.
It was like
Halloween.
Young people, teenagers, young people in their 20s, people who are the same age as some of the characters in the film and have always been that age throughout the series, experiencing it for the first time.
Kind of like they did back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and early 2000s. And Rob Zombies.
It was a great, it was a great feeling.
Yeah. Let me just say this. Seeing Michael Myers like put on the mask and murder people on the big screen,
on the silver screen,
was a lot of fun. I enjoyed seeing that. Like, this is definitely like the
first time for me.
It's it's a decent theater movie. One problem I did have, particularly we talked about this in leaving the movie. I kept hearing people's fucking cell phones going off and people talking during the movie.
Well, it's just this day and age, man.
Golly, though, it's like silence that shit. Shut the fuck up. There's a movie on, you know?
I loved like our row of seating because there were so many people that there were just girls that were like, this is a scary movie. They weren't like
it's that Blumhouse, man.
They hadn't seen like any Halloween movies.
A lot of white girls in the theater where they're like, Blumhouse. Oh no, they weren't.
What is with you and white girls?
I don't know, Dylan, but
they're my favorite breed of person.
Dylan, well, they're great, but Dylan, I don't think they know what Blumhouse is.
No,
so.
I'm just being hard on Blumhouse.
I also don't think that production is the reason. I mean, you have directors, you have writers.
Yeah.
Blumhouse
it's a popular scary movie.
I'm just being goofy with Blumhouse.
But I don't think they had anything really to do with the direction of that movie.
If you sit down though and you go through like Blumhouse's IMDb, you'll start to see like a reoccurring theme in the kind of movies they put out and the kind of audience and demographic they target them towards.
This movie had a budget of $10 million.
That's pretty. That's
Yeah.
really for this day and age.
Yeah.
Not that
I
much.
bet.
It's not.
I know we saw this on an early release.
Like
'cause-
that skyscraper movie with The Rock probably had like $50 million budget or
Jesus
something.
Christ.
Look that up right now. I want to know the budget of that.
Phone's dead.
Okay.
I get
It was a lot.
You know, another common like motif with these Halloween movies is they always sell like hot cakes. So I guaranteed
Oh, big
when
sell.
this movie
And you know what that means? Sequel.
Yep.
sequel, Blumhouse is going to be like, "Oh, this money. We should have gotten to this Halloween money earlier."
So is it too early to rate it?
Wait, like
I'm ready.
Just to rate it?
Let's go ahead. I mean, I'm ready to. Yeah, I think I've said everything I need to say.
Out of 5?
Yeah, out of 5.
Okay.
Out of 5.
And what we do movie and then fun factor, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Who wants to go?
I would
first?
give. I'll go first. I would give this movie on a movie level a 3 because no, I don't have. I'm not going to explain it. That's my
I
rating.
think you already have.
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me just go ahead and redo that. I'm going to give it a 4. No, okay. I'm sorry. No, I'm giving it a 3. That's my
I've
locked
noticed
in answer. I'm-
all these podcasts, Dylan has gone 3.5.
no,
No,
3.
never mind.
3.
4. No, you know what? 3.5.
I
Like,
would give-
literally all of them.
I would
have
give
you
this
doing
movie
that.
like a solid like C plus. So
Okay.
a 3, and then on a fun level, this is definitely a fun movie. I would give it a 4.
I would give it a 3.5 for movie and a 5 out of 5 for fun.
4 and 4. Really enjoyed this movie.
It was fun. Out of all the franchise, it's really up there.
It's probably my second favorite.
Okay, I was gonna
Behind
say
H2O.
I wanted to throw one thing in there.
Behind the original.
I wanted to throw one thing in there where I was gonna say where this one fits in the franchise. Halloween. I'm still like sticking true to Halloween 2, the 1982 one, because they're just it's that
No, I
to
feel
me
you.
that to me felt like a better sequel, you know, and maybe it's just the time it came out and everything with John Carpenter and Deborah Hill having more of a hands-on with it. This one I think would fit somewhere. It would go 1, 2, still 3 because I'm a fucking sucker for 3. I am. And then this one, and then H2O, and then definitely not 5. 5 or 6 or somewhere very far at the end.
I would say for me, it's Halloween 1, then it's H2O, and then there's several of them that are tied with this one for after that. For me, part of my enjoyment in horror movies, especially slashers, are watching movies from other decades. So I love the 80s vibe I get from the Thorn trilogy, even though they're awful movies. I love the 90s vibe you get from, H2O
Halloween
and
6.
Halloween 6. And
Halloween 6,
even Resurrection, that was in 98. Even Resurrection, I got like a cool like early 2000s vibe.
Yeah.
So I love that nostalgic feeling,
Yeah.
even though those movies are not good. So this movie surpassed all of those, even though I like H2O better. Surpassed most of those filmmaking wise, but you don't have that nostalgia because this is in current times.
I liked H2O's ending better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
she
Oh,
just
yeah.
chops his fucking
And
head
see,
off.
that's what was missing from this
I thought it
one.
was gonna
Yeah.
have that punch.
Yes, I
Yeah.
wanted it.
It was build up,
Yeah.
build up, let down.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really was.
Let down to a sequel.
That's really what
Set up
made
to a
it.
sequel.
It's like,
Yeah.
okay, they set it up to where they're like, we could do a sequel, but then they could also set it up to where they're like, no, he's dead, he's burned. You know, it's like a safe, like, it ended it very safely.
What did you guys think of the score, real quick?
Oh, yeah, we should talk about the score.
I
a little
loved
bit.
the music.
Yeah, I did too.
My favorite was when the granddaughter is running through the forest and they're just this really good orchestrated thing.
I like the score, but when you guys said the soundtrack when we left the theater, looking back, were there very many songs played,
the only
or was
song
it just
was
score?
that dance.
How many school dances have DJs nowadays?
Bigger
Most of them
schools.
do.
Really?
We had Dougie Fresh. Oh, we gotta cut that. I forgot.
Who's
I don't
Dougie
even know
Fresh?
who that
Yeah.
is. Who the hell was
That
Dougie
was our
Fresh?
principal.
Oh,
He called himself Dougie Fresh.
I was like, who the
Yeah,
fuck?
who? I did love the score in this one.
Yeah, our principal was really weird.
He was hip, yo.
Like, you remember one of the pep sessions we had? He like came out dressed as a woman. We were all like, "What is
I wasn't
going
there
on?"
for that. He was dressed as Superman one time.
God, he was out there.
You know, well, there was that thing too where they discovered that he's transgendered now. So,
What?
yeah. You didn't hear about
no,
this?
he's
No, he just came out recently. He's transgendered. Yeah.
No, he's not. He's a whole
Yeah.
family. and
He
stuff.
wants to be called Dugra.
Oh, shut up, man.
Okay.
Back to what we were
Okay. So the score of this movie,
Can I go on that? One of my good friends, Beth, she told me that her high school principal was just kind of like a normal high school principal dude, middle age, but he had nipple piercings, and you could see it through his shirt. Some days you could just see some big old piercings on his nipples. She said it was always uncomfortable to talk to him.
just like Dugra.
Okay.
The score in this one was great. I did enjoy the score. It did feel very true and Halloween-y to the rest of the franchise. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on this. Obviously, John Carpenter's stuff was in there because it got the theme song. A lot of stuff from the original movie.
His son, I believe,
Really?
actually helped with the score as well.
Okay.
Along with him.
It felt, this one did feel extra John Carpenter-y. Because I don't know if you guys have, John Carpenter has like a separate music career from his filmmaking.
This music was by John Carpenter.
He did it for the movie?
Yeah, in the
Oh, so
beginning
this was, like,
credits,
new
it was
original.
John Carpenter did the movie.
I thought it was just they were saying, obviously because like the sound.
He said music by John Carpenter.
Yeah, no, he
Okay,
reprised his role, or however you want to say it.
Oh,
with
that's
the
great.
music, yeah.
Because I really did like the score
Yeah,
in
me
this
too.
one. It was great. Very atmospheric.
What else is there to talk about? I don't know.
We could end it.
Totally tell people go watch it. Like
Go see it.
really
Go out
fun.
and see it while it's in
See it in
theaters when the
theaters.
people are there.
Yes.
Go to an IMAX near
Experience
you
it.
and just live it up.
Experience it.
I'm more of the thing where it's like, yes, go see it for yourself. I don't know if I could.
It's negative. It's so negative.
I
Dylan.
just don't know if I could
So
recommend
negative.
this to people because it's like, yes, it's good as far as all the Halloween sequels go to what we've had. It's better.
For a younger generation, they should definitely go see Halloween in theaters.
It's a good modern
You should
slasher.
go see a Halloween movie in theaters.
You should definitely see it because these Halloween
See
movies
it.
are staples, and you need to go. Plus, it's Halloween,
Michael
Yeah.
Myers in theaters. That's something that
It
to
is
go
fun.
see.
Yeah, I would recommend it for that. But I mean, also, if you don't have the funds or you just don't care, wait till it's on Netflix.
Well,
And not have the full experience.
definitely like, comment, and subscribe for that free movie ticket. Two, really, if you want to take a friend. So
Or I
that's what it's
thought
for.
there's also the 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, I'm
So
gonna
should we just
select,
give it to her?
I'm selecting
fan?
however many comments and stuff we get. I'm selecting one person out of it. Or
Oh, it's
for
not
each
the
one.
it's not the
so
first one.
2 people win.
Oh, okay. So that was Halloween 2018. Thank you guys so much. If you have been following this series that we've been doing from
We
the
made
beginning,
it, guys. Pats on the back
Yeah.
all around.
thank you so much for listening. We really hope you enjoyed them and had fun listening to them as much as we had fun watching these movies and doing these podcasts. We might do a retrospective episode,
Yeah.
maybe.
And I know I've been critical sometimes, but I had so much fun doing this series. Like
Yeah.
this was so much fun
It
for
really
me.
was.
I have always wanted to see the Halloween movies as a marathon.
Yeah.
I could never get friends to stay with me and do it.
And I'm going to say it right now. I kind of dogged one in our first podcast, and I am so worried when I hear people listening to that one because it's the way you feel about too.
There's so much I want to
Yeah.
I want to just say I have a whole new outlook on 2.
Yeah.
I've gone back and
I haven't now.
rewatched it and I
One
just love
just
it
keeps
now.
looking better and better.
Yeah.
Well, 1 looked great. I mean, 1's a classic.
Yeah.
1 is great. You can't beat 1.
It's like Rocky.
every time.
I don't know why, but that was really funny
Yeah.
the way you looked at Dylan.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny. It's like
Yeah.
serious but open face.
It's the
Like, I loved
OG.
it.
It's
Because
the
it was Rocky won an Oscar, and then they made a slew of terrible sequels.
right. I mean, that's the case with all of these series. Which, if you guys do like these series, stick around because we've got a lot more
we have
franchises
some
we're
What are you
gonna
guys
jump
doing next?
into.
What's the next
Well,
series?
tell us what you want us to do. If
Yeah.
you want us to hit Friday the 13th, let us know.
We're definitely going to
keep
hit
it
Friday
within
the
a
13th.
horror category.
Oh, I want to.
We've
I want to
been-
do all of them.
Yeah,
I don't
we've been talking
necessarily.
about doing a Christmas.
We're gonna
one.
do. We're talking about doing. We're gonna try to find a good Christmas franchise to cover. We want to do Die Hard.
Suggestions are open.
We want to do Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. We're not. I don't want to stick it just to horror. We did this.
Oh, nice knowing you.
It's gonna be great. I'm excited because franchises are just a lot of fun to jump into, and we really hope that maybe if you guys follow along with us, that maybe you'll discover that these movies are ultimately definitely going to be hard to get through.
Dylan's running for president right now.
Is this too much?
No, it's good. I just know Luke is so done. He's ready. He's so done already.
Well, I just want to say this is exciting.
Oh, it
because
is.
it's
No,
like
it totally is.
Season 1 of Series the Series.
Oh, it's been a ride.
It's been a ride. It's been great, man.
It's been fun.
It's been a great time.
For those of you who are listening to this, who are discovering it because this movie is very relevant right now, just want to go ahead and say, if you don't know, we've got one of these on all of the Halloween movies, and you should definitely go check those out and let us know what you think about them. We had fun. This was fun. I mean, we did it. Halloween is in the bag. Now we got the holiday to look forward to.
Yeah.
It's been fun, and I'm looking forward to season 2.
Me too.
Whatever it might be.
I had a great time, guys. That was so fun. I
thank you
love
for joining
Halloween
us.
movies. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us if you joined us.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So this is AJ. I'm going to say goodbye until next time.
And this is Luke signing out.
And this is Dylan, and I'm going to say trick or treat, motherfuckers. We made it, boys. We did it. Halloween 2018. Before I say anything else, I just want to say massive spoilers ahead. This is a new movie. If you have not seen the movie yet, stop this podcast, go out and see it, or I guess wait until it's on Netflix or something.
In a theater near...
God damn it. It was going so good.
All right, from the top.
Okay.
Ready?
I just want to say in a theater near you so bad, but I choked. I just choked on the word.
I'll set you up for that one again if you want to try it again.
I don't know if I can.
Okay.